Welcome back to the channel, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Hugging face. Today's video is going to absolutely blow your mind because we are talking about the 1-cent copper penny, a tiny coin with a huge hidden story and unbelievable value. Many people think a penny is just pocket change. But what if I told you that some old copper pennies are worth thousands, even millions of dollars in today's market? Yes, you heard that right. This small 1-cent coin could be a life-changing treasure hiding in your wallet, drawer, or old coin box. The 1974 D. Lincoln 1-cent copper penny is one of those quiet coins that most people pass over without a second glance. Yet in the hidden world of elite coin collecting, it carries a mysterious reputation that has fueled legends for decades. At first look, it seems ordinary, but seasoned collectors know that certain coins hide their power in silence. This penny was born in an era when U.S. mints were struggling with metal transitions, pressure errors, and experimental strikes. And that chaos is exactly what created some of the most astonishing rarities ever whispered about in numismatic circles. What makes the 1974 D copper penny so fascinating is not the date alone, but the tiny imperfections that turn an everyday coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Coins from this period were struck at extreme speed, and when even the smallest minting mistake occurred, an off-metal strike, an unusually sharp die impression, or a double design, the result could be breathtaking. These rare survivors were never meant to exist. And that's what gives them their mythical status among collectors who hunt for what others unknowingly spend. There are stories of collectors examining old jars of pennies, only to find a single 1974 D coin that looked heavier, sharper, and more alive than the rest. Under magnification, these coins reveal dramatic details, bold lettering, unusual color depth, and metal behavior that defies normal expectations. When such a coin is authenticated and confirmed as a rare mint anomaly, its value no longer follows normal price charts. At that point, it becomes a trophy piece chased by collectors who think in generations, not dollars. In the high-end collector market, rarity is everything, and the rarest 1974 D copper pennies are spoken about in the same breath as legendary American coin errors. These are not coins that show up in everyday auctions. They surface quietly, change hands privately, and disappear into vaults. When one finally emerges, competition can be intense because owning such a coin is not just about money. It's about prestige, legacy, and holding a piece of minting history that should never have survived. What truly shocks people is how an object worth 1 cent on paper can suddenly carry life-changing potential. The moment a rare 1974 D penny is professionally verified, it enters a different universe entirely. Collectors are not paying for copper alone. They're paying for scarcity, mystery, and the thrill of owning something almost no one else on Earth can ever possess. This is how ordinary coins cross into extraordinary territory, where values are discussed in hushed tones rather than printed catalogs. Many people make the biggest mistake of all by spending or selling these coins without understanding what they hold. A rare penny sold casually is a fortune lost forever. That's why experienced collectors warn again and again. Never rush, never clean the coin, and never accept the first offer. Coins like this gain power with time, and the longer they remain untouched, the more desirable they become to serious buyers who know exactly what they are looking at. The idea that a small copper penny could alter someone's destiny may sound unbelievable. Yet history has proven that rare coins have created overnight millionaires when patience met knowledge. The 1974 D copper penny sits in that dangerous zone where ignorance and opportunity collide. One person sees pocket change. Another sees a hidden key to financial freedom. And the difference lies in awareness, not luck. So if you ever come across a 1974 D. Lincoln penny that feels different, looks sharper, or carries an unusual weight and presence, stop immediately. That tiny coin may be far more powerful than it appears. In the world of rare coins, fortunes are not always loud or golden. Sometimes they are quiet, brown, and waiting patiently in the palm of your hand to change your future forever. The 1979 D 1-cent copper penny is often dismissed as ordinary pocket change, but to serious coin hunters, it whispers a very different story. This humble brown coin carries the spirit of an era when American copper still flowed freely, and within that ordinary appearance lies the possibility of something extraordinary. Many people have unknowingly spent this penny on candy or tea, never realizing that a rare version of it could be sitting quietly among everyday coins, waiting for the right eyes to recognize its hidden power. The idea that a single cent could rewrite a person's destiny is what keeps collectors searching endlessly through jars, drawers, and inherited collections. What makes the 1979 D copper penny so fascinating is not just its date or mint mark, but the rare variations that can exist within the same year. Coins struck with subtle mint errors, unusual textures, off-metal impressions, or exceptional strike quality can separate an ordinary penny from a legendary one. In the coin world, rarity is born from imperfection, and sometimes a tiny mistake during minting becomes a golden ticket decades later. A coin that escaped notice in 1979 can suddenly become priceless once its uniqueness is revealed under expert examination. Collectors speak in hushed excitement about pennies that look slightly different from the rest. Sharper details, unusual weight, or surfaces that glow with deep, original copper color untouched by time. When such a 1979 D penny appears in near-perfect condition or carries an unexplained anomaly, its value can rise beyond imagination. These are the kinds of coins that don't follow normal price rules, because they are chased not by casual buyers, but by elite collectors who understand that once such a coin disappears into a private vault, it may never surface again. The real magic of this penny is the possibility factor. Millions were made, yes, but only a tiny fraction survived in pristine condition, and an even smaller number may hold rare characteristics that defy expectations. That is where stories of unimaginable worth are born. When demand meets extreme scarcity, numbers stop making sense, and value becomes emotional rather than logical. A coin like this doesn't just represent money. It represents history, mystery, and the thrill of owning something almost no one else on Earth possesses. Many fortunes have changed not because someone was rich, but because someone was observant. A single cent, overlooked for decades, can suddenly step into the spotlight and become the center of attention at auctions and private negotiations. When collectors compete, prices can soar rapidly, sometimes reaching figures that sound unbelievable to the average person. This is why experts always warn, never rush to sell a potentially rare coin, because the first offer is rarely the best one. The 1979 D penny also carries emotional weight. It comes from a time before modern mass production techniques smoothed away character and charm. Each coin feels personal, as if it carries fingerprints of the past. For collectors, owning a rare example is like holding a time capsule, a silent witness to history that somehow survived untouched while the world changed around it. That emotional connection fuels demand just as much as rarity does. If you believe you have a 1979 D copper penny that stands out, heavier than usual, unusually sharp, or simply too perfect to ignore, it should be treated with patience and respect. Rushing to sell such a coin without understanding it could mean losing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In the world of rare coins, knowledge multiplies value, and time often works in favor of those who wait. So before you spend that single cent or hand it away without a thought, remember this. History has a habit of hiding its greatest treasures in the smallest places. A penny may look insignificant, but under the right circumstances, it can carry the power to transform a life overnight. Sometimes, fortune doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes, it quietly sits in your palm, waiting for you to recognize it. Moneybag sparkles. Rarity does. If you believe you have a 1979 D copper penny that stands out, heavier than usual, unusually sharp, or simply too perfect to ignore, it should be treated with patience and respect. Rushing to sell such a coin without understanding it could mean losing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In the world of rare coins, Knowledge multiplies value, and time often works in favor of those who wait. So before you spend that single cent or hand it away without a thought, remember this. History has a habit of hiding its greatest treasures in the smallest places. A penny may look insignificant, but under the right circumstances, it can carry the power to transform a life overnight. Sometimes, fortune doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes, it quietly sits in your palm, waiting for you to recognize it. Moneybag sparkles. The 1982 D1-cent penny is one of those coins that sounds ordinary, but carries a story that keeps collectors wide awake at night. In 1982, the United States Mint made a historic switch from mostly copper pennies to zinc pennies coated with a thin layer of copper. That single change turned this year into a battlefield of varieties, mistakes, and mysteries. When people say, check your 1982 D penny, they're really saying, this coin might not be what it seems, and sometimes the smallest details decide whether it's pocket change or a collector's dream. What makes the 1982 D penny so fascinating is that it was struck during confusion. Both copper and zinc versions exist, multiple weight standards were used, and dies were changed quickly to keep up with production. A normal 1982 D zinc penny is common and worth face value, but a genuine copper-based example instantly grabs attention. Copper pennies weigh noticeably more, and when collectors find one with the right weight, strike, and mint mark combination, the excitement is real. It's not about shine or age, it's about being born in the wrong metal at the right moment. Now here's where things get intense. Certain rare transitional errors, such as a 1982 D penny struck on the wrong copper planchet or showing unusual doubling, off-metal characteristics, or dramatic mint mistakes, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. These are not everyday finds, but they do exist, and that's why collectors never ignore this year. One confirmed error can change how you look at every penny forever. This is the kind of coin that turns casual curiosity into a lifelong obsession. Condition plays a massive role in value. A circulated coin with wear tells a story, but an uncirculated 1982 D copper penny with sharp details, strong lettering, and original luster can command serious money in the collector market. Professional grading adds another layer of trust and value. When experts confirm the metal, weight, and strike, the coin stops being just a penny and becomes a documented piece of mint history, something buyers compete for, not casually trade. There's also the psychological power of this coin. It represents a moment when money itself changed, when copper gave way to cheaper metals, and when a single year produced more varieties than most people imagine. That's why rumors of unbelievable prices spread so fast. While stories of instant billions are exaggerations, the real magic is that a 1-cent coin can still be worth far more than its face value, sometimes enough to surprise even experienced collectors. If you think you have a special 1982 D penny, the worst mistake is rushing to sell it cheaply or dismissing it as hype. Careful weighing, close inspection, and expert verification matter more than internet rumors. Many valuable coins were lost because someone assumed it's only a penny. In numismatics, patience often pays better than luck. Knowledge turns metal into money. The 1982 D copper penny teaches a powerful lesson. Value is hidden in details most people overlook. It's not about chasing fantasies. It's about understanding why certain coins stand apart. When metal content, timing, and minting errors collide, even the smallest denomination can become a collector's prize. That's why this penny still commands attention decades later. So no, every 1982 D penny won't make you rich overnight, but the right one can absolutely change your perspective. It reminds us that history hides in our hands, sometimes quietly, sometimes boldly, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. And that's what keeps collectors searching, weighing, and dreaming, one humble cent at a time. Metals, and when a single year produced more varieties than most people imagine. That's why rumors of unbelievable prices spread so fast. While stories of instant billions are exaggerations, the real magic is that a 1-cent coin can still be worth far more than its face value, sometimes enough to surprise even experienced collectors. If you think you have a special 1982 D penny, the worst mistake is rushing to sell it cheaply or dismissing it as hype. Careful weighing, close inspection, and expert verification matter more than internet rumors. Many valuable coins were lost because someone assumed it's only a penny. In numismatics, patience often pays better than luck. Knowledge turns metal into money. The 1982 D copper penny teaches a powerful lesson. Value is hidden in details most people overlook. It's not about chasing fantasies. It's about understanding why certain coins stand apart. When metal content, timing, and minting errors collide, even the smallest denomination can become a collector's prize. That's why this penny still commands attention decades later. So no, every 1982 D penny won't make you rich overnight, but the right one can absolutely change your perspective. It reminds us that history hides in our hands, sometimes quietly. The 1988 D 1 cent copper penny is one of those coins that looks completely ordinary at first glance, yet carries a story that keeps collectors awake at night. Millions of people have held this coin in their hands without ever realizing why it sparks so much curiosity. Struck in Denver and made mostly of copper, this penny comes from a time when U.S. coins were quietly transitioning in composition, quality, and minting technology. That alone makes it a fascinating piece of modern coin history, especially for collectors who know that value is not always about age, but about rarity hiding in plain sight. What truly fuels the legends around the 1988 D penny is not the normal coin you find in pocket change, but the possibility of something extraordinary. In the world of rare coins, a tiny mistake, something almost invisible to the untrained eye, can turn a 1-cent coin into a headline-making treasure. Collectors hunt relentlessly for pennies with dramatic mint errors, unusual strikes, or abnormal surfaces because these rare survivors escape quality control and become instant stars in the numismatic world. Some 1988 D pennies have been discovered with shocking errors such as double details, off-center strikes, or metal irregularities that should never have left the mint. These are the coins that ignite rumors of unimaginable value. When a coin is truly unique or one of only a handful known, collectors don't think in cents anymore. They think in life-changing terms. This is how ordinary coins transform into auction legends. Not because every example is rare, but because one rare exception can rewrite the rules. Condition is another silent power that decides destiny. A 1988 D penny that has never been circulated, never scratched, never dulled by time, can feel almost unreal in the hand. Coins preserved in near-perfect condition are like time capsules, frozen the moment they were born. When such a coin is paired with a rare error, its desirability explodes, and serious collectors are willing to compete aggressively just to own it. There's a dangerous myth that every 1988 D penny is worth millions, and that's where many people lose money instead of gaining it. The truth is more thrilling and more frustrating at the same time. Most of these pennies are common, but a very small number are extraordinary. The real fortune lies in knowledge, patience, and verification. Spending a potentially rare coin without checking it carefully is how history's biggest numismatic regrets are made. This is why experts always warn collectors not to rush. A coin that looks normal today could reveal hidden secrets under magnification tomorrow. Weight, strike sharpness, alignment, and tiny design details all matter. When something feels off about a coin, that's when you stop, protect it, and have it examined properly. The difference between 1 cent and a collector's dream often comes down to a detail smaller than a grain of sand. The idea of becoming rich overnight from a penny isn't pure fantasy, but it's not common either. It happens only when rarity, condition, and authenticity collide at the highest level. Those stories you hear about jaw-dropping prices come from coins that are proven, documented, and fiercely contested by elite collectors. Without verification, value is just a rumor. With proof, value becomes power. So if you ever come across a 1988 D copper penny, don't panic and don't assume. Look at it closely, respect it, and understand what truly creates worth. Most pennies will remain pennies, but the rare exception can change a life. Fortune doesn't come from believing every coin is priceless. It comes from knowing when one actually is. Sparkles.